another episode of the Top Podcast. I'm your host this week, Mike, and joined with me are a couple of guests. Our first guest you may recognize from our Christmas Spectacular last year. He is Jacob and Andrew's brother's older brother, Jacob. How we doing, man?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
You don't want to run that one back?
Tell me you don't listen to the podcast without telling me you don't listen to the podcast. And our next guest is a man who makes us, almost forces the philosophical question. Is this even an episode of the Top Podcast? Or the long-distance situationship reunion that nobody asked for? It's Hot Kyle. How's it going, man?
Hey, it's great to be here. Great to be here. Jacob, thank you for joining me and Mike on another episode of Long Distance Situationship. We're going to sit here and talk about our problems for the next hour. Feel free to chime in at any time.
My family will call concerned. But as always, we like to start with an icebreaker. And we'll get to our question in a minute. But Jacob has brought us not a sponsored, but a real product that we're going to try. What is this?
Von Payne Black Whiskey.
And we will put a picture up on the Instagram for you guys to check out. It is something he purchased just because the spout is so absolutely bodaciously bad that you couldn't say no. So
it's nothing shy of epic, okay?
Yeah.
You would see this bottle sitting at Dracula's bar. It'd be filled with blood. It would look just like this. This is a staple for Halloween, and I'm excited to be trying it.
So,
cheers.
Gentlemen.
What do you think, Kyle? It's not like a traditional
whiskey. It doesn't
whiskey.
taste like whiskey. I want to mix it with Dr. Pepper.
Wow, what a great call.
I think this is going to make a really good old-fashioned.
Yeah, this is tasty. So, whatever Jacob said, not sponsored, but Top Pod approved.
If they want to sponsor me, they're welcome to send me more, and I will keep singing their praises.
It goes for all of us.
It is like a non-whiskey drinker's whiskey, eh? I feel like it's got slightly sweeter, slightly fruitier notes. It's actually really tasty.
Really good. Very easy to drink. I don't like a lot of straight liquors, and that's fantastic.
Oh, Mike, you already said it. You see the top, this awesome gargoyle, also serves as a spout. I bought this really cool gargoyle spout, and they sent a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, right. That was all we cared about. But, icebreaker question. I want to know what activity lets you know it's officially fall or autumn for our pretentious listeners.
Activity, or can it be any kind of occurrence that signals?
Really anything. Movies are obviously off limits.
Carry on.
This is how you know it might be a long distance situationship. Is Kyle's already getting a little
There's a buzzer. There's a buzzer, dude. This is so fun. What the am I supposed to do with this anyway?
Kyle's also learning that we record live now and is very excited about all of these things.
No take backsies. Are you sure you're ready for this?
We will find out. But for me, it's football season. No question. It is fall when football is on. And I know that's not really either of your thing, but
I don't dislike it.
yeah, it's good.
It's fun to hang out with friends and watch the game and just have a good time.
It is that.
I've seen some movies about football once. It does seem pretty interesting. But I will follow Lions loosely. Lions are doing great. You see your community following it and very passionate about it. It's hard not to at least keep an eye on how it's all going.
Exactly.
Well, if anyone's a fan of the Top Podcast, they already know about the best football movie of all time.
Facing the Giants.
Of course.
You're in the end zone. Tell us you don't listen to the podcast without telling us you don't listen to the podcast. Kyle, Jacob, what you got for us?
I think one obvious one for me is my birthday. Celebrate and then break out all the horror movies. And since it's my birthday, I get to pick, and we usually break out a great horror movie. And
Nice.
I know we said no movies, so I'm kind of skirting the line there.
A little bit.
But
We'll call it a Lou pick.
yeah,
Miss
there
you,
you
buddy.
go.
Get better soon. For those who are wondering, Lucian asked generously, kindly, hey, can we move the podcast? We said, sure, we can record on Thursday. Rob said, I actually can't make Thursday. I said, well, we'll bring in a guest. You can have a week off, man. And then Lou went ahead and canceled. So, what the heck, man? Pretending you're sick? I don't buy it. Anyway, sorry.
What day is your birthday?
What's that?
What day is your birthday? What's the date?
September 20th.
Nice.
Nice.
Right before spooky season.
Exactly.
Like, it's right there.
That is honestly, yeah.
Wait,
it's the
September
perfect-
20th? That's my mom's birthday.
Oh,
No
Dude.
way.
They forgot
happy birthday
to
to
get her
Kyle's boss.
Yeah, it's
Or
late.
Michael's boss.
Just like her birthday card. I was walking through the lobby today and they're like, hey, Terry's birthday was Friday. And I was like, last
my
Friday?
God.
They're like, yeah. I was like, I wrote in her card, in the corporate card, I wrote, can you believe they were this late to getting you a birthday card?
Yeah, nice.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's awesome that that your tradition is picking the Halloween movie. Do you have a go-to? We'll get to it. I guess. Sorry, we'll get to it. That is
It's
tonight's
not on that
theme.
list.
Oh, well, there we go.
But usually it's The Burbs.
Ooh,
Which
that's a classic.
Definitely changed once I became a homeowner. It's a hilarious movie. Tom Hanks is the star.
Okay.
Your mom loves this movie, as I recall.
I don't remember.
She hates it. She absolutely hates it.
That sounds about right. Tom Hanks is a suburbanite, happily married with his wife and kid. I think his wife's Carrie Fisher, if I remember correctly.
Nice. Okay.
Great flick. Their neighbors move in, and they're the weirdest people in the world. It's a dirt lawn and just creepy people coming out at night, digging in their backyard.
What?
And then it's just the classic nosy neighbors just spying on this weird family. And he's got two crazy friends who are just encouraging his worst behaviors, getting him to spy on this weird family.
Okay.
And just hijinks ensue from there.
So it's comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Could be a horror movie based on
It
that
could be,
pitch,
yeah.
but that's not really Tom Hanks' usual MO.
I would watch Tom Hanks in a horror movie.
I was gonna say.
I would too.
Yeah. But okay, this actually sounds like a lot of fun though. This
We'll
sounds
have to
like
watch
a
it
cool
sometime.
movie.
We'll add it to the
that
list.
Sounds great. We'll add it to the list.
It's a growing list.
It's a growing list. It grows more than it shortens.
What do you got?
Okay. As soon as you asked this, what came to mind is like being in Michigan, we get very aggressive seasons when it comes to weather.
Oh, yeah.
And there's always like a day that'll be late August. It's typically like late August. And there'll just be a cool breeze.
Right.
Like, you'll have all these hot summer days. And all of a sudden you get that day where the wind comes in and you're actually kind of chilly and there's like that moist smell in the air. And it just like, that's always the moment where I'm like, oh, we're about there.
It's
like,
here.
It's coming. Yeah. So it's not like certainly like obviously, you see pumpkin spice,
Right.
you see the leaves, like these things, like they get you in the zone, but that moment is always when it's like a trigger where I'm like, okay,
There's been a
summer's almost going.
disturbance in the
Yeah,
force.
exactly. So that's my thing when I know it's like time to engage spooky season.
Love it. So this week we are talking about our top 5 October movies.
What is yours?
Football.
Oh, you said that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can take that out in post, right? We can go back and edit all that out.
Nope. You're stuck with it.
All right. Well, I'm just
Be
gonna
smarter next time.
finish my drink and yes, sir.
Then you can blame it on that.
Mm-hmm.
So
More,
this
please.
week,
That's a lot. More, please.
sorry, Jacob is telling Kyle how many more he gets.
And it's one.
And it's one.
What? Per item on the list, right? Top 5. I should get 5 more as we progress.
You're thinking of the Four Horsemen podcast.
Oh, you're right.
We get our defunct podcasts
Guys.
mixed up here.
If you remembered the end of the podcast, you've done it incorrectly. You need to wonder, like,
Oh,
what
that's
did
okay.
say
I
towards the end?
never remember anything I
Okay.
say on these podcasts, and I'm usually stone cold sober.
You just black out. You just come back like, whoa, I don't know what happened,
Yeah.
but hopefully it's
Apparently,
good.
last week I made a 9/11 joke in September. So, like, that was an accident.
Apparently,
What
I mean, the
podcast
9/11
am I on right now?
but undetermined.
undetermined. We'll tell you at the end.
We'll find out afterwards.
Exactly.
We'll see what it gets posted on. Rob's going to hate me for this
we
episode.
gotta keep moving. We gotta keep moving for the sake of not having to edit.
So, this week we are talking about our top 5 October movies. An October movie is defined as a movie you like to watch during spooky season. It does not necessarily have to be a horror movie, but when the leaves change, when that crisp hits the air, and you think... This is the part of the episode where Jacob breaks and gives Kyle like 1/3 extra more whiskey than he said he could have.
Thanks, Dad.
When the leaves change and that crisp hits the air and you go, it's time. That kind of movie. So I'm going to start us off with a slightly controversial pick. My number 5 October movie, Alien Romulus.
Whoa. Okay.
As a Star Trek fan, I was disappointed. There was not a single Romulan in the movie, and I know Rob's going to back me up on this.
It is true, there were no Romulans. There were equally weird occurrences, but we'll get to that.
We actually saw this movie together, the three
Yes,
of us.
we did.
I'm actually
It
really
was a
glad
blast.
you brought this up. We had more fun than anybody in that theater.
It was a relatively packed theater, and the three of us were like jumping and whispering back and forth with each
Did you
other.
see that? Oh my!
and,
You know what
like,
this means, right? Oh my! You still like we were just the whole time like oh.
There were points where like something would happen, and the three of us would like bodily jump out of our
Oh my
seats and be
gosh,
like,
yeah.
"Duh!" And nobody, like, just lemmings, just dead, stone-faced, lifeless people in the crowd, just going.
Seriously.
Eh.
I remember there was one moment, I think it was, there's a pregnant woman in the movie, and like they build up to something scary happening with that. And in that build up, I remember the three of us are all like eating our shirts, like, oh, like we're all sunken into our
It's gonna
seats,
happen,
like,
it's gonna happen.
No.
I don't want to get into too much spoiler stuff, but
Right.
Danielle almost came to see this movie.
Danielle
my
is
thank
Jacob and
God.
Andrew's older brother's pregnant wife.
Thank you for the
Brothers,
clarification,
older
Michael.
brothers, pregnant. Yes, okay.
So, her being pregnant, I was really happy when we got to that one scene, which
With the
if you've
pregnant
seen
lady.
it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I just turned to Mike and Kyle, and I was like, I'm actually kind of happy that Danielle didn't
shit.
make it.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, shit. Traumatizing.
It was. I'm sorry. It was definitely the right choice. If you are actively pregnant, do not watch this film, or really any of the Alien films, but specifically this one.
Specifically this one.
And
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. I know that a better critic of films than myself would take more time before ranking this movie. It is every bit as good as Alien 1 and Aliens.
Yeah.
It deserves
Yeah.
to be in that echelon.
It
was
is.
excellent.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's funny because like you kind of showed me that all the characters they're very like they're cliche, right?
It's a slasher movie,
Exactly.
but with alien trappings.
And but all the ways that they implemented the aliens in the movie were so fresh and unique. They play on the fact that we already know how these things function,
Right.
And so we just got to see them all done in a way that was new and intense and different. Even the camera work on the xenomorph itself, I thought was very fresh and new. Gosh, there's one shot where it's like coming up and its mouth opens and you can see like light hitting its face and the shadow of its mouth. That's like I feel like there was so much attention to detail. The effects were great. I loved it. I loved it so much.
I thought it was the perfect, and I thought it encapsulated those three movies into a perfect trilogy.
I agree.
Where you don't need anything else. And I know in general the vibe at this current table is anywhere from marginally pro to very pro Alien 3. But you don't need Alien 3 anymore. It definitely knocks it. Like, this is the trilogy.
Do you do Alien Romulus, Aliens,
Personally,
or do you do 1, 2 Romulus?
I would do 1, 2 Romulus personally, and here's why.
Is this a watching order?
Yes.
Okay.
Even though they, for two reasons.
Yep.
Obviously, chronologically, it goes Alien, Romulus, Aliens. And there's something to chronological order. I would love to watch them chronologically at some point. But I thought that, like Kyle mentioned, one of the things they do is they use the fact that you know what the xenomorphs do to create fear and tension. And so I kind of want to watch Alien and then Aliens and then go to Alien Romulus so you can have that effect. And also, it paid really good homage to the other scenes. And so I want to have recently seen Alien and Aliens to best be able to appreciate the things that it does playing off those movies. And so I think this is a matter of release order trumping chronologically.
Well,
Just like how you should watch Star Wars.
Yes, 4, 5, 6, and then nothing else, right?
It's not the
and
worst way to do
Rogue
it.
One, come on.
I liked Rogue
it
One.
some
I like
credit.
Rogue One.
Solid.
Yeah. I also really liked there was a very subtle yet like prominent Prometheus reference that was put in there.
That's
There was.
true.
That like if you hadn't seen Prometheus, you could still follow the story easily.
Oh, yeah.
But having seen it, like I remember being like, "Whoa, oh my, this is what they're doing with this movie." Like it took a turn and connected those universes really well. That like it just felt right. It was all so smooth and seamless in bridging that gap.
But the nice thing was, it's been long enough since I've seen Prometheus, I didn't even realize it was a Prometheus reference.
Nice.
So I didn't I didn't feel lost at all. Like I made none of those connections, and I was like, oh sure, this is just some new crazy thing the company is stewed up.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's see what bad crap happens now. Like,
I didn't pick up on it immediately, and then they played the Prometheus theme.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, it's a Prometheus reference.
it's hilarious that you caught that and I didn't.
Well, I watched it just in the background while I was doing something else, and
enough.
the theme sticks with you. It's a good theme, actually.
It is a good thing.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
All right. Jacob, what do you got?
My number one is... Oh,
5.
hang on. Yep. Oops. My number 5 is The Crow.
The new one or the original?
The original. I
Good
don't think
answer.
anyone
Good
should talk
answer.
about or even acknowledge the new one that was released on physical media a month after it premiered in
It
theaters.
was a month.
Yikes.
That's
And-
awful.
Okay.
It's such a shame because I love the star of that movie, Skarsgård.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's phenomenal. He was great in It. He was great in the excellent Hulu series Castle Rock.
Yeah.
He's a great actor who keeps getting all these bad roles. Or not even bad roles, just bad movies.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see him do well because I really think he'd do phenomenal as an actor. But the original Crow, phenomenal film. Brandon Lee's final movie, of course. That's kind of the tragedy of that film.
Okay.
But an excellent, very unique gothic art style, very fun story.
Okay.
The basic premise, if anyone hasn't heard, it starts on Devil's Night. Brandon Lee and his wife, or fiance, I can't remember, get horribly murdered. And 1 year later, we get this monologue that sometimes a death is so bad that a crow brings the soul back to finish
Nice.
the business
Nice.
that was unsettled.
Okay.
And it resurrects Brandon Lee's character, the Crow, to get revenge on all these people who murdered him and his wife
Very
a
cool.
year before.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind of
dope.
like Supernatural Punisher.
Yes, very much
Love
so.
it. That's
Yeah.
cool premise.
And,
So-
and he's just hunting them down.
I see why
one at a
Dwight
time.
likes it so much.
Yeah. If it's good enough for Dwight's Desert Islands movie, you should definitely check it out.
Is it
Exactly.
an action movie then? Is it more of a thriller? Like, what's the genre?
It's a comic book action movie.
Cool.
100%.
Oh, okay.
It's
That
based on a
sounds
comic book.
Yeah.
It's a great comic book if anyone's looking for a phenomenal artistic masterpiece of a comic book that's not DC or Marvel. You should go check it out.
Yeah.
I've never had any idea what this movie's about, but you've legitimately sold me. That sounds
I
pretty
agree.
good, actually.
I know it's a cult classic. There's a lot of love for this movie over the years.
And then there were 5 more that we don't need to talk about.
Five more?
More? No.
5 more with the release of the last movie. Yeah,
Oh
5 more.
my God. The Crow 2. The Crow Returns. The
Crows.
Crow Resurgence. Yeah, Crows.
Yeah.
To the to Crow.
And I'm bummed because they were going to do a reboot with Jason Momoa and it got canned. And it
Whoa.
looked incredible. Like you can see his full costume setup and everything. It looked incredible. And
Yeah.
it never saw the light of day, unfortunately.
With
Unfortunate.
Momoa? How long ago was that?
Over 5 years ago?
Okay. So they scrapped that one with Skarsgård and stuff.
Yeah.
The whole... Yeah, but we don't have to talk about the new one. The old one sounds pretty hype. That's
awesome.
I'd be down.
When did it come out?
When did it come out?
Oh, we have to look it up.
Can
We have
we
to
go
go
can
back
ask-
to you.
I- yeah, we'll
yeah,
ask
yeah,
my
it's a
turn,
classic. Yeah. Okay.
But, go
Wanna
for it,
move it
yeah.
on?
We'll
Okay.
move on to Kyle's number 5.
My number 5. Now, this one, I basically inherited the love of this movie from my mother. It's more her thing, so she watches it every fall, and I end up getting roped into watching it as well.
That makes a lot of sense.
She is a huge fan of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. She loves it. She knows all the songs when she was younger. Do you know the culture of this movie? Okay, have either of you guys seen it?
I have not seen it. I've heard
No.
tell of what happens at
Yes.
this thing.
It's a very ridiculous, slightly raunchy, like musical. It's weird and it's wacky and it's gained this cult following. And I guess back in the 80s, there would be the showings where you would come dressed up as characters. You'd go to a theater, you'd come dressed up as characters, and there were all these like, I guess there was this culture around, on one scene you would throw all this like rice, and in one scene you'd throw bread at the screen, and in one scene everybody in the crowd would scream, "Damn it, Janet!" at the same time. Janet! And so there were like, she's got all this love for it because of like the history of the culture of going to see it live. What's his name? The guy that was in It. We were just talking about him.
Skarsgård.
Nope, different guy.
What? We weren't just talking about him.
Original
Curry.
It.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry
Ah,
is in
yes.
it.
Phenomenal actor.
Phenomenal actor, and he's phenomenal in this. He blows the roof off in this. If you've seen images of him, he's wearing like the fishnets. And,
He's that guy?
Oh, that's him?
That's
Oh
Tim
my
Curry.
god.
Yeah.
You could have sold me on just it's a Tim Curry movie and I would watch it just for Tim Curry.
He slays it. And so it's funny because watching it now, I don't fully understand the love that my mother has for it, but she's coming from such a different place. She's coming from watching it, over and over again as a kid, and she's got all these memories with it. So it might be a personal thing because I've watched it with her and she loves it, so it's fun to watch with her. But you should check it out. It's a cult classic. There's all sorts of history to it, and it always reminds me of Halloween. It's such a Halloween I feel like watching it outside of October is sacrilege. This is the one time a year to check out this movie.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I could not imagine somebody watching that in the dead of February.
That's what. Yeah,
It would
or
just
just
be
sitting
weird.
by myself on a Tuesday afternoon watching this. That's just not the vibe. I feel like drinks also help.
Yeah.
I feel like a bottle of Von Payne back. We should get a sponsorship for this movie.
Right?
I'm
Yeah.
just saying. But anyway, a nice some drinks while watching this. It's supposed to be corny. It's supposed to be fun, and you're supposed to have a good time. And I think that's what the movie's all about. So that's my number 5. It always brings me into the spooky season spirit.
I like that.
Love it. Did the intern get back with us?
Yes, it came out in 94.
94.
94. Okay, a good classic 90s vengeance flick. I'm in. I'm sold.
Gotta love it. All right. We're going to go one more round around the horn, then we're going to take a break and eat that pork that I cooked because I'm freaking hungry and it sounds really good.
Sounds great.
You want to eat it on the pod? You don't want to give them some nice...
What's fun is that...
You want to give them some of that... right in the...
Is this why it's been so long since Kyle's been on the show?
Yeah, the second Rob is gone, I sneak him back on now.
What's up? I've come to play. Give me some of that meat, Mike. I want to it all night long. I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm not sharing this on my socials.
Anyway, so where were we?
So my number 4...
We can edit that in post.
Yeah, sure. My number 4, I've actually talked about on the pod before, but it was over a year ago, and so I'm talking about it again. It's my number 1 horror movie from a year ago, Smile.
Whoa. Okay.
And my number 1 horror movie is a weird, nebulous thing that is always changing, and so I like it a lot, but I like a lot of horror movies a lot. But Smile is basically you get this psychiatrist and somebody unalives themselves right in front of her in her care, and she starts following this thread back, and you learn that there's this entity that when somebody sees the person possessed by the entity unalive themselves, it then attaches to you, and within a week to 10 days, you're gonna pass it on. And so it's kind of like The Ring, where it's it's a horror movie, but it's also this mystery of how am I gonna find a way to beat this thing before it's too late and before this force comes in and gets me.
Wow.
I thought I liked it a lot on the first watch, and the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, there's only one way they can end this movie that'll be satisfying, but there's no way Hollywood has the balls to pull this off. And then they did it. Exactly what I was like, this is what they need to do. And they did it, and I was so happy. And that was all I walked away with. The second time I rewatched, there's all these crazy Dutch angles and wild camera things they're pulling where you angle the camera so it's not in level. And the idea is that is off-putting, and they do that just really intense. And so you'll just get scenes where the camera's cocked to the right just a little bit, and it the camera work is super unsettling. There's one amazing shot where there's this perfectly circular window in the back of the scene, and to end the scene, they shoot through the window, so the camera's moving at eye level essentially, and it goes out the window. But as you go out the window, you start looking down on the car that they're in the next scene. So the window transition is a seamless 90-degree drop off out of this window. It was just really cool stuff, and then visually they do all these things with the costumes. So as the main character is reaching this point of realizing the trauma that is embedded in her life that this thing is drawn to, you watch as her physical appearance makes her look younger and younger as the movie goes on. So as she's physically drawing to this like moment where you collide with facing your childhood trauma. She's like less and less. It just there were so many brilliant and subtle things that this movie did that you just don't pick up on. Like the first time you watch it, you go, "That's good," and then I rewatched it and I was like, as a piece of film, this is also very impressive.
Wow.
And the sequel's coming out, and I have no idea what the hell they're gonna do with this, but I'm so excited to see just because it was so good.
I've not seen Smile. You very much inspired me to check it out. That is a raving review. I think Smile 2 looks incredible.
Right.
I'm in to watch Smile based on how good the second one looks.
Yeah.
Like, I love the production value. Like I'm all about it. But hearing you say that, I need to watch this movie ASAP.
Yeah,
Like,
you gotta watch it before you watch the next one.
Although
I honestly I hope they're not connected at all.
It doesn't sound like they are. It doesn't sound like they are. Unless
doesn't
there's like a
need to be.
stray character, it's a fully fresh story.
Yeah.
I'd be down to do another movie night, guys. If you want to hit the
Absolutely.
theater together. Have you seen the first one?
I've not seen the first
We
one
should
yet.
watch the first
Double
one
movie
and
night.
go, yeah. That sounds good and freaky.
That does sound fun.
Have you seen online? I don't know how legit this is. I've only seen posts about it, but about the Smile promotional campaign where they would stick people at like sporting things, like
events,
at a baseball
Yep.
game, right behind the batter's mound, like,
Yep.
and there'd be a person like standing, smiling, like head cocked down at the
spooky,
camera the
yeah.
entire time, nonstop, just standing there smiling with a shirt that says "Smile" on it. Like, and they would just like nonstop do the freaky smiling face. And I've seen images of this, but like, I would love to see some footage of the game and just know, like,
Right.
how many people out there were watching that, like, hold on, what? Like, are you guys seeing this right now? Like, because that's brilliant. That's honestly genius. And like, and the smiles are real creepy.
They're super creepy. It was very well done.
All right, so my number 4 is The Thing.
The original or
John Carpenter's The Thing.
okay.
Yes. Great movie.
Phenomenal film, starring Kurt Russell. Also
his
the
prime.
inspiration for Among Us.
Whoa.
Oh.
Did you guys not realize that?
Whoa, hold
No,
on.
I just
Is
assumed
this
it was.
proven or is this a theory?
I mean, you run around a frozen facility while something that looks like the rest of the crew is hunting them down and killing them.
I always thought it was just the game Murder
Yeah.
set to a video game, but I like your story more.
Yeah, our game was called Mafia, same thing. But I do think you are correct. Interesting. But carry on. It's a classic. Like,
It's a
The Thing
classic
is an
movie.
amazing movie.
I just rewatched it and I had no idea that that was an 80s movie.
Yeah.
Because it's just a whole bunch of people trapped in the Arctic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could set that at any point and put them down and it would still work perfectly.
Yeah.
It is a timeless horror movie with some of the best practical horror effects you've ever seen. And if you do any kind of the research into the way they did some of the effects, where they're getting huge amounts of bubble gum and melting it to make the guy's like head fall off.
Oh my god.
And just
nice.
the way they practically did these incredible monster effects just
Yeah.
elevates it even further, knowing they did this with very little, if any, CGI.
Yeah. Well, and the paranoia delivered in that movie, like when you're watching it, you really don't know who's the monster and who isn't. And apparently the movie is just like chocked full of subtle clues, right? Like apparently there's all sorts of subtle things that John Carpenter snuck in there to give you an idea. But when you're watching it the first time, you're not paying attention to those little things. You're just trying to like keep up with what the hell is going on. I mean, I love the scene. What the is going on in the when that thing does the to those poor dogs.
Oh, that scene's rough.
That scene's
Yeah.
oh, I love it. It's just so raw and brutal. So I love The Thing as well. And come on, being stuck in the Arctic and isolated like facility, I feel like that's such a great setting for a good horror movie.
Oh, I agree.
Kurt Russell shines. The flamethrower is awesome. Like I agree. I love it. Have you seen it?
I haven't. It's high on my list though.
And Keith David is phenomenal in the movie, too.
Keith David is. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's so
I
good.
forgot he was in that.
Just playing off of Kurt Russell and the tension between those two.
Yeah.
You can just feel it and you can see it in the way they're looking at each other. And you never know. Like, you always feel like one of these guys has to be the thing,
Well,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that just raises the tension so much and really makes it great.
When Kurt Russell has them all tied up and he's testing out the blood samples, like that is one of the best jump scares ever. You are not expecting that and you will leap out of your seat. And then they're all still tied up. It's an amazing movie. If you haven't seen The Thing, the original, it's amazing. Have you seen the new one? They made a remake
So,
with Joel Edgerton.
There's the old black and white one.
There's a black one. Didn't know that. Continue.
Which is what I thought Michael meant when he said the original.
I have no idea. I haven't seen any of them.
And then there's John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes.
Which is the one I'm talking
What
about.
we were discussing.
Phenomenal. And then they did I think it's a prequel about the Scandinavian team.
Okay. But because the dog.
Yeah, it's about the team that found the dog at the beginning of the movie.
And then the dog. Okay.
And I heard it's not great at all.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
I don't know if they've made any other ones, but John Carpenter's The Thing from the 80s. That's the one I'm talking about, and that is a phenomenal horror film.
Yeah.
Nice.
Agreed. Check it out. It's an amazing movie.
Love it.
All right. Okay. My next one, my number 4, is another one that I don't think I've ever set out to watch this movie. It has just always happens to come to me while in spooky season. Whether I go to a party and it's on, or I'm hanging out with somebody and they want to watch it. This movie is always just it always pops up every October.
Would you say it follows?
Oh, I would not, Michael.
Oh, okay.
I would not. Can you shut the and let me have my number, please?
My bad.
Movie is Hocus Pocus. Come on, this is a Halloween staple. It's what more can I say? We've all seen it. I don't even know if I could fully tell you the plot from start to finish. I just know I've seen bits and pieces of it at least 9 or 10 times. The witches are iconic. It has such a fun, classic Halloween feel and aesthetic to it. It's it's never. I seriously, I don't know if I've ever just been all right, everybody, quiet down. Let's watch this movie. It's just always on every Halloween, and I'll always stop and be oh, look at that! I know this movie and have fun with it. So it's just such an oddball one for me because I don't even know. It's I don't know. You can only watch it at Halloween. I've enjoyed watching it in the background of a million different things. And Hocus Pocus, have you seen it? Okay, have either of you guys seen it? Do you know what it is?
I haven't, but I've watched the Alex Myers recap.
Okay.
It's
a
gap
answer.
in my cinema
I've
knowledge.
probably seen about as much of the actual footage as you had from the sound of it.
But it feels like a Disney Channel movie.
I thought it was a Disney Channel movie.
Probably was.
Yeah,
it's definitely a Disney movie, right?
If nothing else,
It's
It's
on
Disney.
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It's on my
They've got a
list of watching this year.
Wasn't there a remake?
I think it was a sequel.
Sequel.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a sequel.
Do we know how it did?
I imagine it did about as well as all the other Disney Plus original content.
Boys' night. We're watching Hocus Pocus 2.
We'll have the intern check it out, I guess.
Yeah,
See how-
Let us know how it is, sport. So yeah, Hocus Pocus. It's that time of year. It's just so integral to spooky season. I know that I will not plan on it, but it'll end up being on somewhere where I'm at, and I'll be okay, I'll sit down for 15 minutes. Okay, I'll watch some of this while it's here.
So in conclusion, probably should have been Kyle's number 5, but
Hocus Pocus 2, 65% tomato meter, 45% pop comma meter. So what's that? 65 critics, 45 fans.
Yes.
So overall, not good.
65, 47. But
I mean, you add that together, it's over 100%. Just saying.
Either way, yeah. This is the original or the remake.
The remake.
The
sequel.
The sequel. Yeah. Worth the watch, I guess.
But the original,
I watched the first one.
I know the original is beloved, and honestly, if you're I don't have time, Alex Myers, he does the commentary YouTube thing, and he does his own animation, and spend 20 minutes watching that video.
He just sums it up.
He sums it up, makes fun of it, and animates it.
In 20 minutes.
Yeah.
This is how you've been consuming your movies?
Many of them, but mostly Disney Channel movies from my past.
This guy, this heretic over here. You're
So,
just going to take the short way out?
For movies I don't really want to watch, but I want to watch somebody funny make fun of, yes.
But I want to keep up with the conversation.
Exactly. It's I don't have time to watch all these movies before the podcast, but I can watch Alex Moulton. Nope, that's different Alex.
You know what? I need this
Alex
guy,
Myers.
actually.
Yeah.
This is going to be very helpful. You're right.
It's kind of like when you watch the pitch meeting and then just go with Ryan George's opinions instead of your own.
Oh, yeah. I thought that movie was super easy. Barely any inconvenience.
Wow,
right.
wow. Wow.
Gonna need you guys to get all the way off my back right away. All right. We're going to take a quick break, put some meat in our mouth, and we will be back for our number 3s.
Oh, yeah. Give me that. Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
I love some of your man meat, Michael.
At least it was. It was very good. Mike cooked. He smoked. It was fantastic. Smoked the meat. He smoked the meat. And it was great. And now we're on to our second sponsor of the night. Jacob was feeling very stingy and doesn't want to share with his brothers in arms. He said that we mean nothing to him and he was not willing to share. No further comments from Jacob. So we've moved.
Well, you know what? Actually, what happened is... and
that's close enough to accurate.
So we've moved on to, it looks like what Mike pulled out of the bottom of the barrel because he needs to get rid of it.
That's actually really good. That was acquired for me by an award-winning bartender in Michigan. Shout out, Kenna. Thank you very much. From, Rusted Crow Distillery. It is Ginger Devil.
Ginger Devil. Ginger spiced cinnamon. Cinnamon with an S. Cinnamon. It's got a hot lady
Jacob
with
disapproves of politics so hard.
with a tail and a big old bulldog. Okay.
Not as cool of a bottle, but definitely not bad.
It's not as cool, but it fits the spooky season vibes. It really does. Look up Ginger Devil. Is it going to be Fancy Fireball is my question.
It tastes like Fireball, but without feeling like your mouth is coated in melted wax.
That helps. That helps.
So it's like all the good parts
right
about
direction.
Fireball without any of the drawbacks of Fireball.
All right, boys. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's very good.
Right? Very tasty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It gets you in the mood for a green apple.
Wow, I love that. I take back my bottom of the barrel comment.
Thank you.
Who am I?
Yeah.
I have no
You're
idea what
Hot
I'm
Kyle.
talking about. I'm Hot Kyle.
You know who I am? I'm Hot Kyle.
It's the one thing I got. I don't know what booze is like. I don't know what's good. No, I take it back. Ginger Devil hitting the spot. That's actually really tasty.
Not sponsored, but if you just send me some pizzas every now and then, Rusted Crow, I will keep shouting you out.
Yeah, if Ginger Devil wants to send a bottle, whew, I'll take it.
All right, but on to our number 3 October movies. We're getting into some heavy hitters at this point. I don't know if I've talked about this one on the pod or not, but I'm a huge fan of the M. Night Shyamalan classic, Signs.
Great choice.
Great movie. Yeah.
So good. I was watching it just the other day. Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I did not appreciate the star power in this movie the first time I watched it.
Yep.
Both of them, fantastic. You know who's not a fantastic actor in this movie? Go back and rewatch it. The guy who plays the army recruiting guy. He talks like a 7th grade like the theater kid.
Okay.
Like just super heavy-handed, super awkward. I can't do it because it's just I don't have that in me to be that wrong on purpose.
This is the scene where he's like talking about why the aliens are there and what they're doing.
Yeah,
so
like
scouts, right?
Yeah, they all go into the city, and Joaquin Phoenix ends up in like an army recruiting base, and the general is talking like just super cheesy. I can't do the
They're not here to
impersonation.
destroy, but to assess, to evaluate the danger.
Yes.
Oh yes!
Yeah. Super choppy.
Nailed it.
Very much like they were feeding him his lines a third of a line at a time. So many pauses. Real people do not talk like that. But it's so funny that I don't care. And it's right in the middle of the scene where the girl in the pharmacy is trying to confess to Mel Gibson. And then
yes.
they all reconverge in the pizza scene. He's like, nobody's hanging out with what's her name anymore.
Yeah. I do remember as a kid, I watched the movie at like summer camp. I was in a room with a bunch of kids. I was probably like 11. Like,
I was
pretty
11 when I saw it too.
Yeah.
It was objectively too young.
And the scene where they're watching the news and the alien walks by, like
in
every
Mexico.
kid, every kid in the
Dominoes!
room,
Yeah.
every kid was screaming. And I'm like, I have trauma from just like they pause on the alien, and every kid in the room I'm in is just like, ah! And I remember like just chills. Like I was horrified. Signs is a great movie.
Yep.
Great movie.
Deeply terrifying without being even remotely gory.
I think it's PG-13.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great example of not showing the monster is way scarier than having it constantly chasing people around, just not knowing exactly what it is.
Yeah.
really raised the tension. I think Alien does it very well,
Alien
too.
does it fantastically as well, yeah.
Constant suspense that just builds and builds and builds and builds.
And it's crazy because I didn't, like, in my head, there was this, like, element of, like, oh, we don't know for sure what it is when you start watching Signs. You know, like, right away, right up, way, you know, oh, this is Aliens. Like, there's, as a viewer, there's not a question in your head. Like, you get why it takes the real people, quote, real people, a little while to accept it, but it's clearly Aliens right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, excluding the possibility of an Olympic Scandinavian female high jumper, like, what else could it be? You know, like, yeah, it's Aliens. It's obviously Aliens.
I think the best scene in that movie is in the first, 10 minutes.
When they're running around the house?
When they're running around the house, and Joaquin Phoenix's character, Meryl, is telling Mel Gibson, you gotta swear at him. And he's still in that pastor vibe, even though he's retired.
Yeah.
And he just refuses to swear.
Yeah.
So him, trying to sound intimidating while he's...
But it's quick cutting with Joaquin Phoenix being like, it's time for an ass whooping!
and then Mel Gibson, I'm losing my mind! I'm insane with anger! It's so funny. And I really wish that he wasn't so on the outs of Hollywood, because he's insane, but he is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
And it would be great to see him in more stuff.
Agreed.
Bring Mad Max back.
Dude, bring back The Patriot.
Yeah.
There you go.
He will always hold a spot in my heart for that movie. But we got to keep it moving, right?
Absolutely.
I'm going to keep us on track. We were told by our intern at intermission. We got to speed it up.
Intern got on our case.
My number 3 is Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn.
I didn't have time, but...
Dead by Dawn is the subtitle to...
Sometimes. Not always.
Okay, I was going to say, I've never heard that.
In all the advertising, it was Dead by Dawn, and they kept playing that clip from the movie, Dead by Dawn, Dead by Dawn. Okay. So that was often the title for how they promoted it. So whether or not people call it Dead by Dawn, I don't think it's typically listed that way anymore, but...
Yeah.
There's a little Evil Dead trivia for you.
But Evil Dead 2, why,
What makes it better than the first one?
I could go back and forth on 1 and 2.
Sure.
I think 1 is a flawless example of you have no budget and you're making a phenomenal horror movie. Mm-hmm. And even the star of the show, Bruce Campbell, who plays Ash.
Bruce Campbell, baby.
Phenomenal actor.
Seriously, yeah.
Phenomenal actor. He talks about it, and Evil Dead 2 is a mix of a remake and a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because weren't all 3 of the first movies from different studios?
Yeah.
So they weren't none of them were technically connected, but
you can't buy it as a trilogy because different studios all own the different movies. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Which, on one hand, makes it a fun, quirky trilogy.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost my train of thought. Where are they going with it? The 2 movies.
It's a remake and a sequel.
When you look at it as a remake, look at how we took our very simple idea with no budget. Here's what we can do with a budget.
Okay.
And you really just see Sam Raimi continue to get better and perfect his craft. And then you look at all the other movies he's made, the phenomenal Spider-Man trilogy, and you just see this director getting better and better and better. Mm-hmm. And it just takes everything that was great about the first one and puts a budget behind it. And it's a phenomenal, campy, goofy horror movie. I love Bruce Campbell in anything you put him in.
Bruce Campbell's so good.
Especially when you just let him be himself. That's where he really shines. But I think some of the best scenes in Evil Dead 2 are when he's just by himself. He's losing his mind in that cabin alone. That's where that movie really shines in my eyes. Cutting off the hand is iconic. I mean, I like Evil Dead 2 a lot.
And I could even put Army of Darkness on this list. I could go back and forth between any 3 of the movies. They're all so great for different reasons for each one. But Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell together are just such a great duo. And that's why Bruce Campbell cameos in every single Sam Raimi movie. And the Delta Cruiser also cameos in every single...
Whoa, I didn't know that.
It's Uncle Ben's car in the Spider-Man trilogy.
No
If you go watch the last Doctor Strange movie, which I don't think was that good.
Oh,
But
I'll fight you on this.
it's not horrible.
Yeah.
Especially compared to some of the other stuff Marvel's put out. But
Sure.
I don't think it was great.
Okay.
But if you watch when they go to the dark universe where it's the evil Stranges, the car's floating in the background and the debris. And Bruce Campbell shows up as Pizza Papa.
Yeah, Pizza Papa.
And it's just
Pizza
a
Papa always gets
consistent.
paid.
You got to have Bruce Campbell if you got Sam Raimi.
Yeah. That's awesome. And look, being a Michigander chasing film, like they're a very inspiring duo. They both come from right around this area.
They grew up in Plymouth.
Exactly, literally right around this area.
Wild.
So yeah, it is very like inspiring to see where they started and where they've ended up now. Have you seen Ash vs. Evil Dead?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
all
okay.
3 seasons.
Okay, because if we did TV shows, Ash vs. Evil Dead would be on my list.
Next year, baby.
And he's coming back. They're doing an animated Evil Dead series with Bruce Campbell continuing to
Same
play the
characters?
character.
Are they continuing the story of the show, or do you know if
Ash is in it. That's all I really care about.
That's all that really matters. Because I've done 3 years in a row now. My brother and I. Well, this will be the 3rd year. We watched season 1, season 2. We're about to start season 3. Like, I think that's a perfect spooky season show as well. Short episodes, like easy to watch, really fun. Like, yeah, it's great what they've done with the franchise even to this day.
So we have a young Michigan director.
Yes.
Starts with a low-budget horror movie.
Oh man.
Goes on to be an amazing director.
Yes.
Kyle Kimlick, are you the next Sam Raimi?
Hot Kyle's the next Sam. Hot Kyle. So what I would like. Let me.
So no?
No, I'm not. I'm okay. I admit it. I'm out of here. You got me. Have fun with your podcast, you little. I did so much of this for YouTube, and this is how you repay me, you.
I love the bleep button.
Yeah. I feel like this is fun for nobody but us.
I don't know, but I love it a lot. So
If you like the button, comment in the
there you go. In the comments section.
yeah.
Okay, my number 3. My number 3. It's okay. Technically, it's a double feature. Insidious 1 and 2. I love those scary movies. Have you seen Insidious before? Both of you guys?
I've seen it.
I've not.
You've not seen Insidious?
No.
Okay. What I really like about it, Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, phenomenal cast. James Wan, like in his
Love
earlier
James Wan,
days.
yep.
But, so many ghost stories. We kind of talked about how Signs did a good job of keeping the enemy off the camera. What Insidious does really well is like puts you face to face with these really scary like ghosts and demonic forces. And I don't know, there's some real charm to seeing these monsters in your house. And then what's that?
Are these Conjuring movies?
They're
No.
basically
Like Patrick
him-
Wilson
Okay.
is
Yeah.
They're
the Conjuring,
basically
right?
like James Wan revving up and getting some practice reps in before he starts swinging with
Before he
the
did the
Conjuring.
but they're not part of the continuity.
No, once again, Conjuring, I feel like has more ghosts that are invisible, and Insidious is much more in your face, like monsters with different styles and makeups and stuff like that. And there's a consistent theme of Patrick Wilson going into like the ghost realm, and that's some of the scariest stuff I've ever seen in a film. Like it's so intense when he's in the ghost realm, and you get to see kind of what's in the house from the other side. And then in the second, and what's brilliant is I say that it's a double feature. Insidious 1 is great on its own, but in the second one, they kind of do this time loopy thing. It's like in the second one, a lot of things happen that explain what happened in the first. And like spoiler alert, in case you haven't seen it, Patrick Wilson gets trapped in the ghost realm. And he's trying to contact his family, and the ways he tries to contact them impacts what happened in movie 1. So all these things that happened in movie 1 were actually him the whole time trying to get out of the ghost realm.
That's the Hill House cheat.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, 100%, yeah. But there's such a good, satisfying Halloween watch. Because even though I've watched it a lot, I love seeing the monsters. I love the intense creepiness all around. I think the cast is great, and 1 and 2 back to back I think are a great double feature. So
Yeah, visually and just as an experience, they're both really good. I walked away not fully grasping how the rules worked, and that kind of bothered me. Where I was like, I wish I understood why they were successful.
Yeah.
But it was still a really good flick.
Yeah, and like, look, hot take. I haven't seen the third. I've heard
it's
about
bad.
how it
And
goes.
I don't think James Wan's the director anymore, right?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, no.
Patrick Wilson directed, which is really quite a shame. Quite a shame.
Yeah.
Because I hate when a sequel kind of like negates the progress of a previous movie. When like, you know,
Unless
your
it's
characters
Alien 3.
overcome, unless it's Alien 3. That's a whole other sidetrack. That one's justifiable. But when you have like a character that goes through all this growth and then the next movie it's like, well, guess what? He's back to zero. It's like you kind of destroy like how much came out of the last movie. And so I'm avoiding ever watching the third. 1 and 2 are great as it is. Happy ending, I'll take it. Like
I like it.
I don't need to watch another.
Sounds like James Wan really is like the modern horror movie director.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
He's so good.
He's the guy.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a pattern there. Kyle, if you want to be a successful film director, you make a horror movie,
Okay.
and then you go on to make a campy superhero movie. Aquaman?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm so here for it. You guys want to be my Bruce Campbell?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, you're in. Let's go, boys.
I want to be the villain.
I can say
Oh,
broomstick.
it'd be a great villain.
All right, number 2s. My number 2 is a big divergence from the scary movies. It's the animated classic Jennifer Aniston,
What?
Harry Connick Jr.,
What?
Vin Diesel. What? Yeah. John Mahoney, the dad from Frasier. The Iron Giant, baby.
The Iron Giant.
Yeah.
Great film. How is it a October movie though?
Yeah.
I just think October. The leaves are changing in that movie, and I like to watch it in. I just like to watch it in the fall.
Do you guys watch the honest trailers on YouTube?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
They just did Iron Giant.
Really,
Oh.
I'll have to catch that.
And one of the things he struggles with, he's like, all right, now I have to make fun of it, and I can't think of anything fun. So the movie's got too much orange in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they show like 20 clips, and it's just an orange screen.
The movie is basically fall leaf colors with a movie with people moving around in front of it.
So I can definitely see that as
Yeah.
a solid argument
Like
for
it is,
October movie.
it is just the aesthetics are perfect for the fall, and then it's so good, man. Like it's a movie that's better than the book. You're welcome.
Yep. Correct. Thank you.
And it's such a heartwarming story. It's a great story about family, about fathers, about sacrifice. It's everything that I want to be. I want to be everything that the Giant is and everything that Dean is as a dad.
Wow.
And like it touches my heart on so many levels, and it's funny. It's so funny. Like the first scene when you start meeting human characters and the squirrel runs up Dean's pants and he stands up and goes, "I'd like to apologize to everyone in advance for this," and unzips his pants and the squirrel shoots out his fly. That's gold. And then the squirrel just like tears apart the diner and he's like, "Check please." Like it's great. It's so good. It's so quotable. It's funny and it will warm your heart. And if you haven't given this movie a try because it's just an animated film, it's not as brilliantly animated as like Spider-Verse or The Last Wish, but it's just as good of a movie, and the animation is solid.
I think the animation is inspiring in that movie, and I think we need more animation outside of just Disney, and not saying anything
Right.
against the many great Disney movies that have made history. But I think that movie
It's
did
good
something
animation.
different.
Yeah, absolutely.
It does something different. And
It's not groundbreaking like those two are.
no, but it
But,
does something different. And I think if
Yeah.
more people did something different with animation,
Mm-hmm.
it would create all these new ideas and concepts that we could see visualized. That would
And
be
I'm
really exciting.
I'm convinced the only reason that movie was animated is because they didn't have the technology to do the effects for the Giant well at the time.
That's
But
a
it
good point,
comes
yeah.
off so well, and you're able to do some cheesier, campier things without it coming off too cheesy because it's animated. It's this perfect line between being like, this is an adult movie that kids can enjoy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've not seen it.
Oh, you should.
I know it's sacrilege. I know it's like
It's one of the best
classic
Superman movies ever made.
It's true.
Superman movies.
Superman.
Okie dokie.
You just have to watch it for that to make sense. All right, Jacob, what do you got?
My number 2 is a little more obscure, but I watch it every year, and that is Tales from the Crypt.
The first one?
Depending on how you want to look at it, this is the first in the film series. Tales from the Crypt Demon Night.
Okay.
And I never watched the show, but Tales from the Crypt was a show, kind of like an anthology series where each episode is its own weird little horror story. Fun concept. I love that idea. And if you do watch this, I say just skip to the title card where it says Demon Night. It opens a little weird where you have this character who was the character who introduced the show each week, the Crypt Keeper, setting up, I'm in Hollywood now, I'm making a movie. So it's weird and it's ridiculous and does nothing for the actual story. It's just kind of a, hey, if you're into Tales from the Crypt, here's the Crypt Keeper setting up the movie. And then you see the title card, Demon Night, and it actually starts playing out. The basic premise for this movie is we open with a guy getting chased by Billy Zane.
Okay.
That right there.
Is Billy Zane playing a character, or is he himself?
Yeah.
He is a character, for sure. Billy Zane is the Demon Knight of the movie. He's the antagonist. What the heck? And he's just the most over-the-top, ridiculous, wild, crazy, mocking, sarcastic character you could ever want to see Billy Zane play. He's hilarious the whole time. He starts the movie with this fake cowboy disguise. Okay. Just to casually sort of kind of blend in with the townsfolk. And at a certain point, he throws it off. And he's like, I've had enough of this done there. How you doing? Howdy, partner. Nonsense! And he's just so fed up with it and just completely goes in a different ridiculous direction. But he's just over the top funny through this entire movie. And him by himself makes it worth watching.
So is the Demon Knight like a chapter in this movie, or is it the movie story?
The story is a Demon Knight.
Okay.
Like it's one anthology story.
In the movie.
If they're doing a movie, Demon Knight is the first. And then they did more Tales from the Crypts movie, so that were all horrible. And it was like, where'd they go with blood or something? It sucked from what I understand. But the movie is just a Demon Knight. And it's awesome. And he's chasing this guy who we don't know why he's chasing him. But he gets in a horrible car crash. He barely gets away. And then he holds up in this old motel that used to be a church. And you find out that he's got this special artifact that helps him fight demons. It's almost out of power. And the demon's trying to get it from him. And then he meets a whole bunch of people. One of them being Jada Pinkett Smith.
Whoa.
And he's just trying to work with these people. Some of them are awful. Some of them are kind of just, this guy's a little scummy, but I feel bad for him. And these are some good people who are in a bad situation. And you see Billy Zane screwing with each one, giving them like weird visions in their heads. Just how can I manipulate each person to fall to the dark side so then I can possess them and cause more chaos. And it's just them trying to survive the night. Because if they can survive the night, they can escape.
Very cool.
This is great.
And very action heavy, but so funny too. What? And it's just an absolute blast. And I would definitely encourage you to watch it.
I want to do like a weekend marathon.
I'm sold on this.
I don't think the beginning and end sequences where it goes Tales of the Crypt is bad. It does nothing for the story. And it's a little just gratuitously dumb. Like they do a gratuitous nude shot just for the sake of having it in the movie.
Sure.
It's unnecessary and it doesn't need to be there and it doesn't do anything for the actual story of Demon Knight. But just for the Demon Knight story alone, absolutely worth watching.
Wow. Right. That sounds awesome, actually.
I'm in just for the ripping off the cowboy outfit scene. That sounds hilarious.
It's great.
That impression of it was really funny. I want to see that happen. I want to see Billy Zane do exactly what you did.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Okay, that sounds awesome. Okay. My number 2 is, so it's something of a recent find for me, and it is definitely, it's not one that I have to watch every single October, just for the atmosphere and the setting alone. It is Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. Is it Tim Burton?
I don't know.
We should fact check that. But yeah, either way. The thing I love about Sleepy Hollow is that there is a very I don't want to say cliche, but there's an iconic Halloween vibe that people think of when they think of a spooky Halloween town.
Yeah.
And it is Tim Burton? It's Tim Burton. Awesome. Thank you, intern.
Now, I thought you were talking about the classic Mr. Toad and Ichabod Crane adventure from Disney.
No. I don't know what that is, but I want no part of it.
You've never seen that?
No, I've never seen that.
It's a wonderful little piece of Disney history. You
Mr.
should check it out.
Toad and
Well-
Ichabod Crane.
It's a whole side tangent that I'll get
Ichabod
into
Crane
later.
is the main character from Sleepy Hollow, so
Yeah.
It's two
Do you know that?
short stories split into one,
Okay.
and it is a Disney adaptation of Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
nice.
Go check it out.
Okay. Anyway, this movie, it perfectly captures that vibe. So it's like it's not super spooky, but you know it just like with the setting itself and the content and you know this scary being coming into town and doing murders every night. It's slightly cheesy. There's like a good cheesy love story. Johnny Depp he's just so emo and Halloween in it. I feel like this is the ultimate, like, it just captures the essence and atmosphere of what Halloween is to me. And there's a little bit of action. There's, you know, like, there's a little bit of scares. It's like, ultimately, it's an all right movie. It's very, like, it's okay. It's good. But it gets me in the Halloween spirit so fully. As I'm watching that movie, I'm like, this feels like Halloween to me. This is what Halloween is all about. And so I only discovered it recently, but this is without a doubt an annual watch for me just to really get me in that Halloween zone.
is it?
I have a crazy story about this movie.
Please.
I have only seen about 20 seconds of this movie.
What?
So this came out in 99,
Okay.
I think. And we had family over.
Okay.
And I was young.
Okay.
And they were watching a movie, and I didn't want to go to sleep.
I think I hope I know what scene this is.
So I am kind of trying to like peek around, and I peek out, and there's this guy walking, lightning strikes, and he starts shaking, and his head shoots off. I think it was. I assume this was the Headless Horseman. I have no idea. That's the only part of the movie I saw.
It would make sense.
But
though.
then I so freaked out that I just went back into my room and shook for the rest of the night, and didn't reveal till the next day that I had seen a clip from the movie.
Trauma.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. It's like you've always been a movie guy, so you're just curious. Like, I wonder what they're watching, and you're like, it was such a bad choice. I was so wrong, crying in bed. So I love it. Sandy, neither of you guys have seen it?
No.
I've not. Oh, other than that
I've
20
seen-
seconds.
Less than Jacob, yeah.
I'm so sorry, Jacob. I'm so sorry for your trauma. But it's a good watch. It's a good watch for, I mean, in my eyes, nothing more than getting in the perfect Halloween spirit. Because I feel like we don't have enough movies that really, like, that have the setting be a perfect Halloween town. And this just does it on all fronts. It's great. It's great.
Love it. All right. My number one is also not a scary movie, but just like fall and football are forever linked for me, Remember the Titans. Annual watch, like to do in the fall. It's just one of my all-time favorite movies. There's a couple that are constantly I'm having to fight. I can't decide which is my true favorite movie, but this is a contender. And it's one, Denzel, absolutely amazing.
Classic.
But it's not just Denzel. There's Denzel, Will Patton, Ryan Gosling, Petey. The guy who plays Petey is the guy from Scrubs. Him and JD.
Zach Braff?
Yes.
Wow.
Or no. Zach Braff is the white guy.
Yes.
His buddy, the black guy.
Yes, okay.
He's
Yep,
in it.
Yep.
And a couple other people who like have just gotten huge sense, like a absolutely loaded cast, and it's the story of the first high school football team that was forced to integrate and have a mixed race football team.
Nice. Okay.
And one of my favorite commentaries on that is they're like, I think it was Shane Gillis. He's like, yeah, of course they went undefeated. They were the only team who had black guys on the team. Like, what did we think was gonna happen?
Advantage, yeah.
But like, it's super good. It's such a great human story, and like, I think it's just a simple story. Like at the very end, they're like, before we reach for hate, we stop and we remember the Titans.
Wow.
Right, and like, it really is like, I think, not to get political, but I think we get real complicated about race sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you can just stop and be like, oh yeah, we're all just people. And I think that goes a long way.
Well,
Like, it's
really
got a
does,
really
yeah.
simple message, but also super quotable, super funny, also hits you in the feels at certain points. And Denzel just freaking, every time that guy opens his mouth in that movie,
It's a great flick.
crushes it.
You don't even have to be a football fan to watch it. You introduced me to the movie. And afterwards, I was like, that was incredible.
Yeah, it's a pure good movie that happens to use football as part of its plot point. Not even plot point. It's just like football is the disguise they use to tell the story.
Yeah, nice. True story?
Based on.
Yeah, sure.
They move some stuff around. So, like, the order of the games
but
is
like,
mixed up
this
to,
happened,
like... Yeah, so, like, the last game of the season is, like, this big clash between,
the
like...
most exciting.
Yeah, it happened in, like, week 4. And then, like, the final game, they, like, absolutely just trounce some other team. So they mix stuff like that up to make it more interesting. But the general beats are largely true.
Wow.
And,
cool.
like, Denzel even talked to the guy he played and, like had conversations with him and really tried to, like, respect the story. And
That's awesome. Okay. Epic.
Yeah.
Epic that your number one is just a football movie. After you said football is what brings you into this, like...
It wasn't on
into the
purpose.
season. Yeah.
I got really excited, though, when I realized there was some thematic through line.
Full circle.
Right? You know me. I love full circle.
Seriously. Jacob?
I'm ready. My number one is a Mel Brooks film that I think is always overlooked when he's discussed. I don't feel like a lot of people who aren't Mel Brooks fans are familiar with this one. And it is, I think, the best Dracula movie out there.
The original Dracula?
No.
No.
Dracula, Dead and Loving It.
I've never seen
You've
it.
never heard of this.
Starring Leslie Nielsen as Dracula.
What? No.
Going up against Mel Brooks as Van Helsing. And it is one of the funniest movies you will ever see.
Okay.
And if you've seen the Bram Stoker's Dracula or the original, it just makes it even funnier.
Wow.
You get so many little references. And just, if you're a fan of Naked Gun, go watch it right now. Because if you like those, you're going to like this. If you like Spaceballs and Young Frankenstein and anything Mel Brooks has done, you're going to love this movie.
Frankenstein is hysterically funny.
Spaceballs.
And I agree. Both of those movies phenomenal, and I think this is even better.
Whoa.
And no one talks about it.
I've never heard of it.
I bought the Mel Brooks collection on Blu-ray mainly just hoping this was on it, and that wasn't even one of the ones included.
Wow.
I was devastated. It had Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs, but that one was absent. What? And it's a tragedy because this is the best.
It's actually a different
Brooks
studio,
movie.
so they're not allowed to put it in the
trilogy.
trilogy.
In the
Oh
box.
my gosh, wouldn't that be funny?
That's crazy.
It's wonderful. It's so funny.
Dracula Dead and Loving It?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Very interesting. Leslie Nielsen as Dracula sounds wild.
He's so funny. And Renfield is one of the best characters, too.
Cool. Okay.
I think before the Nick Cage movie even came out, this demonstrated that you can do a really great comedy with just Renfield and Dracula.
Wow.
Because he's one of the funniest characters in the movie, too.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to do a couple of Saturday marathons where
would
we
like
each
that.
show up and we each bring one of our
That's a great
October
idea.
I
movies.
need someone to make me watch these things.
Yeah, because
I need
I'm
someone to,
like
get me
sold
to do
on
this.
pretty much your entire list at this
Yeah.
point. I don't think I've seen
Agreed.
any of the movies that were on your list, but they all sound really good.
Wow. And we can finally watch Hocus Pocus.
There you go,
Beginning
too.
to end. All right, am I up?
Bring us home, baby.
All right, here's my number one. Also, okay, I did a double feature. I feel like that's kind of cheating, but you got to do this like in tandem, because I put for my number one the movie Scream, the first one,
Great choice.
followed up by Scary Movie 1.
Also a great choice. Have you ever seen it, Jacob?
I've never seen Scary Movie.
Really?
And,
Okay.
and I think it was one of those things where it's just like, okay, they made how many Scary Movies?
But the first
many,
one's
too many.
yeah, really way too many, way too fast.
And at that point, I remember seeing a trailer for one of the later ones, and I'm like, this just looks
Trash.
stupid.
Yeah, really bad.
So I think that tainted my opinion of
Totally
the whole
fair.
franchise, just because it was like every year there was another one of these, and they all looked the same, and they all looked dumb. So I never saw the original because of that.
Basically a shot-for-shot remake of
It
Scream.
seriously is.
Are you serious?
Like,
But it's like a Mel Brooks style making fun of Scream.
I'd watch that. I'm sold right now. That's a great premise.
Scene, it's insane. Down to camera angles and like the lines they drop. Like it is So Scream on its own is a great movie. I love the meta aspect.
So
it is
good.
it makes fun of itself. It makes fun of other slashers. It's just so much fun. Like despite it being a slasher movie, like you're never actually scared. You're just enjoying the ride the whole time. And then you watch Scary Movie, and even though Scream has comedic elements, like Scary Movie just takes literally like every scene and just like takes it the next step, takes it further, makes it ridiculous, and it's so funny. And having like, if you just watch Scream, you will be paying attention. You're like, wait, I know exactly what they're talking about. Wait, he doesn't say that line in the movie. He says it like this, like, and they're like line for line, they're recreating it, but making it all like hilarious. And it's like Scary Movie is so based on Scream that if you watch them close together, it'll be so much fun.
The opening scene where like he's chasing the hot girl around.
Yeah.
And he stabs her in the chest, and then he pulls the knife out, and he's got the implant stuck on the knife, and the girl's just like, I'm basically fine, and just keeps running with like a bleeding tit. It's
oh my god,
and it's just like that, just nonstop.
I'm sold, man. That sounds great. I love the Scream franchise. I could watch any of those movies, and I think those hold up well compared to other franchises.
Oh, yeah.
Because they just keep making fun of the current horror trends.
Yep.
And that's why even when you get to, like, the fifth one, it's just like, okay, we're going to make fun of a requels now, because you can't remake it, but you can't do a sequel either.
Yeah.
And it just continues to be meta for the current age, and that's always going to be relatable.
I've only seen 1, 2, 3. Is 4, 5, 6 worth diving into? Like,
I didn't love 6. The trope in 6 is that we're going to do it in New York.
It's actually kind of hilarious.
But that's funny. 4 is not well loved outside of Michigan.
Because it was shot in Northville, right?
It was shot in Northville and Plymouth.
And downtown Plymouth, yeah.
And if you watch it and you're from Northville or Plymouth, you're going to recognize all the places from the movie. I can see the Starbucks I used to work at in the background in a couple of the shots from the movie.
Okay.
Andrew and me, our brother, he went to football right across the street from all their houses. So you just recognize all these places from Michigan if you're from that area.
Yeah.
So that makes Scream 4 great for me.
Yeah.
5 is the requel, and we're going to make fun of all the tropes of not remaking a movie but not making a sequel either. So I love the meta aspect of every Scream movie, and they just continue to do it well.
Wow.
One thing, the first time I saw a Scary Movie, I don't normally stop because when like an older movie is a little insensitive, I'm like, whatever, product of the times. I legitimately paused and was like, boy, Scary Movie seems a little racist, man.
What Scary Movie?
Yeah,
Which one?
The first one.
Okay.
And then I learned that the 2 black guys in Scary Movie were the ones who wrote and produced Scary Movie.
No way!
And I was like, never mind, we're good, run it!
What's up? Nothing. Chilling. That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Both of you guys being Signs fans, have you seen Scary Movie 3?
No, I only saw. I started to watch 2 and it was like,
God. Listen, arguably Scary Movie 3, I'd say is the best. I will happily bring it over and you can watch it because that one, it makes fun of Signs among other things. Charlie Sheen is Mel Gibson's part, right? And it's like, oh my God, it is so funny and like
podcast over. We're doing that right now.
What's crazy is like they combine like The Ring is a big one in 3. And I think Saw is later. But The Ring's a big one in 3. Oh, what's the other one? But either way, they do a really good job of like, they'll kind of take 3 major scary movies and make fun of all 3 of them. And the way they cleverly integrate... Oh, and 8 Mile. That's the other one. That's because Joaquin Phoenix's character is Eminem. Like, it's 8 Mile is the white kid trying to be a rapper. So every time he's leaving the farm, he's trying to get in the rap game. And so like... It's freaking hilarious, and the way they cleverly tie in all these different stories to work it's fun. It's fun. Scary Movie 3, arguably the best. I stand by that, and we're watching that one for sure because that one hits.
I'm in.
Okay, boys.
Yeah. I think that is it. Thank you guys so much for filling in and doing a live podcast. I love when we actually get to do these in person. It's rare, but it's always a treat. Anything you guys need to shout out?
Check out my YouTube channel, Jacob Pisar. Always doing fun animated stuff.
Yes, you recently you pop up in the search bar, if I remember correctly.
What?
So if you search Jacob and then type in PIS, I am the second result.
Yes!
So I'm in the search bar. You have to type a bit to get there. But that was kind of cool where my name disappears in the search.
That's great.
I am a long ways off, but since you and I are both here, one of the things I'm working on is an adaptation of one of your short stories.
Yes.
Continue.
I would love that. Amazing story. Before we go, we will give Kyle a chance to shout out.
No, go ahead.
I recently, a coworker found out that I wrote a book, and I was like, hey, don't buy it. I make like $2 whenever anybody buys my book. I got a stack of them at home. I'll bring you in a copy. And I get a text, and she was like, hey, have you considered like narrating any of your short stories? And so I sent her Continue. She was like, that was really good. And I was like, oh, cool. And then I sent her the other short story that I recorded called The Other One. The thing about The Other One is it's relatively sexually graphic in the first couple minutes. And it's all important. It's the plot earns it. The thing was, when she got all excited, it was like, I'm going to show my 13-year-old son this story that Mike sent me.
No.
She accidentally clicked on The Other One instead of Continue. And she was like, whatever. The first one was good and relatively PG. And the text I got was, right around the time we got to you talking about hard nipples, I was desperately trying to turn my phone off.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm adapting Continue and not the other one.
That's actually so funny. Just in the car, like, and we're done listening to this. Why, Mom? What is a bosom? Like,
No, he knew exactly why. Apparently, he has not yet finished giving her a hard time
this is
about
my
it.
favorite story ever.
So yeah, there's that.
Yeah,
What do you got going on, man?
I'm back from Burning Man. I'm finally back. I'm finally working my butt off every single day. We're about to drop Inhabitants as a web series on our Four Horsemen & Co. YouTube page.
Yeah, baby.
If you look up Four
Starring
Horsemen
all
& Co.
three of us.
That's right.
I don't
know about starring, but we're all in it.
You're all in it. Yeah, the monsters.
They can only put me in it for 5 minutes because of the star power. That's fine.
That's right. Yeah,
That's all we can
Too
afford.
expensive. Yeah.
So check it out. It's coming right to our YouTube as well as other things. The time is now. We're going to be posting a lot more. I'm very excited about it, and I'd appreciate it if you checked it out. Four Horsemen & Co. on YouTube.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of the Top Podcast. If you enjoyed, like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell. Go ahead and comment on Spotify, because you can comment on Spotify now. Apple Podcasts, all the other things. You found this podcast, so you clearly know how to navigate the internet. So do the things, and until next time, peace.
Take care.
Bye, guys. If you've made it this far, I thank you for putting up with me. No edits. Are you insane?